Hi, I'm Elizabeth Doherty Thomas,
And I'm Bill Doherty.
and we're co-founders of the Doherty Relationship Institute. In this video, we want to give you a little support if you are wondering, is there anything left to discover or think about before you make a final decision that divorce is the path for your marriage?
Yeah, so we're talking to you now because you yourself or somebody you love is really doing a process of deep reflection about whether to enter marriage. So it's a very painful time. It's not something that anybody hopes they will ever face. And what we know from research and from experience, I've done couples therapy work with couples on the brink for 40 years, is that you're probably developing a story, a narrative, like a why, what happened. So I'll call it a narrative, okay? What happened to your marriage that got you to the point where it looks like it may not be salvageable. And the thing is that none of us from inside a marriage can have a fully complete, even fully adequate, I think, story, narrative about why and what happened. What's everybody's contributions. And sometimes people go ahead with a divorce, and it's only years later that they come to realize that their story about what went on was incomplete, and maybe even distorted in some ways. They may feel like, okay, ultimately the marriage needed to end anyway, but they're less satisfied with their decision-making process, and they can carry over things into their next relationship. So one of the things about what we call discernment counseling is it's an opportunity to slow down, take a pause, and do a little bit of a dive into a more complete understanding that your discernment counselor can help you with, because your discernment counselor is talking to your spouse as well. So starting to put two sides of the story together, plus the therapist's own perspective. And what you come out of this with is a more complex understanding of what's happened to your relationship and each person's contributions to the problems. So even if you decide ultimately divorce is the best path, you'll just know why. It's sort of like somebody leaving their profession that they had devoted their part of their life to. Well, was it because this bad boss they just had, or they just worn out, or whatever? Well, what's the deeper part of this? Okay, what's the fuller story? So that's the kind of step that I think is so important to take before you make a final step to end a marriage, to just do a 360-degree review with outside help, somebody who meets your spouse too, in a way that if you just go to individual therapy, they don't know your spouse. And then to be able to have peace with whatever decision you come to, whether it's to go ahead with a divorce or to try again to see if you can restore your marriage.
Yeah, if any of this is interesting, please visit discernmentcounselors.com. There's a lot more information, and there's a lot of professionals nearby that you can reach out to.